Most people overestimate what they can get done in a year and underestimate what they can do in a decade. This famous piece of wisdom, most commonly attributed to Bill Gates, holds true over shorter time spans too. We tend to overestimate what we can get done in a day, but underestimate what we can accomplish in a year. How do we get around this quirk of human psychology? How do we make consistent progress towards our biggest goals without drowning day to day in our overly optimistic to-do lists? How do we overcome the mental resistance that comes with big goals and just get started? The answer is a deceptively simple and memorably named productivity method called Eat the Frog. Eat the Frog is perfect for anyone who struggles with procrastination, gets a lot done but isn't making progress on the important stuff, has a hard time sticking to a productivity system, has trouble deciding what to work on at any given time, and feels overwhelmed by their to-do lists. First off, what is Eat the Frog? If it's your job to eat the frog, it's best to do it first in the morning. And if it's your job to eat 2 frogs, it's best to eat the biggest one first. Productivity consultant Brian Tracy named the Eat the Frog method after this vivid piece of advice from Mark Twain. While there's more power and nuance to this method than meets the eye, it all boils down to this: identify one important task for the day and do it first. At this point, you may be thinking, one task? Are you insane? I have dozens of things I have to get done every day. I can't possibly do just one thing. Bear with me. If you feel pulled in a million directions and overwhelmed by the number of tasks on your plate each day, I'd argue that this method will be even more powerful for you. It's not that you'll kick up your feet and call it a day once you've eaten your one frog. You'll still work on other things, but your most important, often your most difficult task that requires the most energy and focus will be prioritized first before all those other less important but more urgent things get in the way. For example, Taoist founder and CEO routinely checks 15 to 20 tasks off in a day but sets a goal to complete at least one high-impact task daily. Of course, you can always experience with the exact number of tasks, but I'd encourage you to try out the most extreme version first. There's something about the extreme simplicity and hyper-focus of just one task that I've found makes this method particularly effective. All too often, the first thing we do when we sit down to work is check our email and income messages. Email and instant messaging tools put you in reactive mode. As soon as you start responding, you've ceded your time and attention to what other people want or need you to do. This kind of reactive prioritization can quickly take over your workday. In contrast, Eat the Frog asks you to put your agenda first before any other requests come in to derail your day. Like we said before, it's human nature to overestimate what we can get done in a day, even when we know we're likely to overestimate. That's why productivity systems often end up making us feel like we're constantly behind and failing to keep up. In contrast, Eat the Frog forces you to focus on less even when you know you can do more. Any day that you eat your frog is a good day. Furthermore, following the method means you'll be making progress on something meaningful on a daily basis. All right, good. You have been introduced to Eating the Frog. I heard about this in Jim Rohn's book, but like we said earlier, Brian Tracy was the one who coined this term. So just like you, I have been in positions where I have felt like I am procrastinating. How do I get all of these things done? I have so much to do in the beginning of the day. I have so much on my list of to-do, and I feel so pressured to do it all. I feel like I have to do all of this stuff, and especially when you have children, when you have a family, there are so many things on your to-do list, and it's very easy to get overwhelmed. I understand it, but this method has been very effective for me, and I believe that it can be effective for you as well. So we talked about eating your frog, but how do you eat your frog? I'm sure you're like, okay, Shanika, I heard all that you had to say, but how do I eat the frog? All right, let's talk about some tips that you can use to better eat your frog. All right, number 1, decide on your frog. This is also known as your MIT, your most important task. It's a task that is important, but it's not too urgent, but for whatever reason, it causes a lot of mental resistance, which brings about procrastination if you don't intentionally take the time out for it. You probably know exactly what task I'm talking about. Your frog should take about half a day's of work, and it typically should be clearly defined and realistic so that you can get started on it and not procrastinate it further. Checking it off your list before lunch will give you a concrete win and an accompanying endorphin boost to get you through the rest of your day. Number 2, pick something that you will be able to complete in 1 to 4 hours. If your frog is going to take you longer than 4 hours, you should break it down into smaller steps that will take you 4 hours or less to complete. The next concrete action on that list is to complete your next frog. For example, in order for you to complete the task, create a business plan, your frog for today might be complete competitive market research. So what this does is take the bigger picture that you might have to do and just break it down into something smaller. The market research will help you to ultimately complete your business plan. However, you have to do the market research first. So if you break it down into smaller steps, it will help you to complete the task quicker or in a way that doesn't seem so overwhelming. Once you start breaking down your biggest tasks, you may be tempted to schedule out your frog for a week or even a few weeks to come. Don't do it. Accurately forecasting your frogs into the future is nearly impossible and will only set you up for getting behind quickly. One of the benefits of Eat the Frog is that you get to start fresh with a singular focus daily. Identify and tackle your frog one day at a time. One day at a time, just take it one day at a time. No matter how long this takes, sometimes you can, have these desires and these goals and these deadlines, and that is what really overwhelms us when we have deadlines and we try to make these deadlines and we feel like we can't get them or we're not going to reach them. But literally, if you just focus on one thing at a time, one day at a time, give yourself the opportunity to focus on that one thing, you'll see results so much quicker and they will be so much better. Number 4, prepare your frog the night before. All right, so you shouldn't plan too much ahead or into the future. However, you should make sure that you plan the night before what your frog is going to be so that when you wake up, you are ready. You already know what you're going to be focused on for that day. You're close enough to be able to plan accurately, but still far enough removed from actually having to do it for too much mental resistance to kick in. It's a foolproof method of staying on track and not allowing yourself to get overwhelmed or distracted so that you won't start the day looking at emails, checking text messages, looking at things that are not going to help you or not going to help you eat your frog. But because you went to bed with it on your mind and you've woken up with it, you know exactly what you have to do. And number 5, eat your frog first thing. All right, whatever your frog happens to be, make sure you do it the first thing. It is the first thing that you do when you sit down for work. If at all possible, don't schedule any meetings, don't check your Twitters, don't check your email, your Instagram, anything else. Do the first thing first, whatever that is. Don't even think about all of the less important things that you have to do later on in the day. Focus all of your mental energy on your frog and your frog only. Guys, listen, one of the best things that you can do for your productivity in going forward in 2023, make sure that you stay focused and that you allow yourself to become unrecognizable. There are so many things fighting for our attention every day. There are so many things trying to knock us off of the vision of our original vision that we have been given. And we know every time we get knocked off how we feel, how it makes us feel. It doesn't feel great to feel behind. It doesn't feel great to feel overwhelmed. It doesn't feel great to feel like you are all over the place, okay? It really doesn't. But let me encourage you today just to stay focused and to take your time and use your time wisely. Your time has been given to you for a purpose, and make sure that you use it wisely and effectively. Eating your frog, doing the first most important thing in the morning, I think will be one of the most important things that you can do going forward in this year. Be mindful every time that you do start something like eating the frog that you will have something to distract you. There is a saying that says that anytime you go forward to do something, there is going to be an opposing force to stop you or try to stop you, right? This is a law of thermodynamics. You know, there's going to be an opposite opposing force anytime there's something moving forward, and that includes you. Okay, you are a force, and remember that there will be things that will be trying to come up against you, but if you continue to stay focused on your frog, stay focused on your task, doing the things that you have been called to do, doing the things that are going to make you most productive and effective, then you're going to have a successful 2023 and beyond. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you so much, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye.